These two Special Edition Zelda 3DS XLs are worth about $200 each, but they're both broken, so that's only if I can fix them. This one has a bad A button, this one won't read games. Let's get them apart and see if we can figure out what's wrong. And we can immediately see what the problem is here. There's a bunch of these pins inside that are bent and broken, so we need to either replace the slot or those pins. To do that, we have to get it apart. So we'll take off the battery cover by removing, oh, that is really tight. Need to make sure I have a bit that fits perfectly in there. There we go. I'm using a pH0. The 00 I thought was gonna work better, but the 0 actually fits in there better, so. Okay, and battery. Trying to tell if somebody has taken this apart before. I feel like they must have, but oh yeah, these screws are almost stripped out. So somebody has definitely been into this before. Hopefully they didn't mess anything up worse than it needs to be. So putting a lot of pressure down as we turn to hopefully not strip them out any more than they already are. This is gonna be a hard one. All right, got it. One more, come on. It's spinning a little bit, come on. Oh man, just slipped. Come on. There we go. I gotta see if I have some better screws for this. These things are not in good condition. All right, now we should be able to get the bottom casing off, but don't pull too hard. We've got 2 ribbon cables attached right here. One there and one there. Wow, this game slot has been destroyed. So when I was first looking at this, I was hoping I could just replace these pins that were bad in here, but unfortunately it looks like pretty much every single pin is bad. The whole game slot is bent there. It's been cut away here. So I think probably the best move here is gonna be to replace this entire game slot. Now one of the advantages of just replacing the pins is you don't have to remove the entire board. You can just do that all right here. But and able to do this in a way that I'm not going to be melting like this post right here and this post, because we got to get all this solder off. I think the best thing to do is going to be to remove this board. So I'm going to get that done, and then we'll see what it's going to take to replace this thing. These ribbon cables are kind of a pain to hook back up, but it's going to be worth it just to have this board out. So I am going to do it anyway. And with all the screws out, we can remove the board and flip it up to get this last ribbon cable on the bottom side. There we go. And now we have the board removed. So these are mounted down by 4 main mounting pins. This one, this one, this one, and this one. There's a bunch of solder on each of these. So what I'm going to do is come through with some solder wick and suck some of that up. And then probably what I'll do is use my pick to kind of pry up on the board gently, but enough to pull it away while I heat up the mounting pin, and that should make it so I can gently pull up on this game slot and start getting it pulled away from the board. Once that's done, we just need to remove all of these pins. I might remove them manually, but I also might flip the board over and heat it from the bottom side with my hot air soldering station. That will allow all of these pins to heat up at once and the game slot to just drop away. But let's start by removing the solder from these pins so we can start to get this game slot lifted up. Okay, and that worked pretty well. That took a little bit longer than I'd like, but really not too bad. And I'm gonna smooth out some of these solder pads here. There we go. Now all we need to do is install the new game slot. So I'm gonna line up these pads, and then I'm gonna solder on each one of these mounting pads, and I'm gonna push down on it while I'm doing that. That'll make sure that everything is right down on the board where it needs to be. There is 2 locating pins, one right there and one right there. So we need to make sure those stay where they're supposed to. And then we can get this soldered on. And here we go. How do these joints look? The mounting pin looks great. Oh yeah, those are soldered on really well. Those are nice and solid, no worries there. Well, let's get this thing installed and see if it works now. Now the first thing we have to do is probably the most difficult part of this whole assembly. We have to get this ribbon cable into this connector. I use a pair of metal tweezers, which I don't recommend, that's just how I'm used to doing it. And I flip it up that way, push it in, push the locking tab down, and there we go. Now we can flip the board down, make sure and get this ribbon cable out right here. Come here. There we go. Okay. All right, so I flip it around like this now, using my same pair of tweezers. Kind of pull this down like that. Just like that. And I push it into the connector. Oh, almost had it. It's been a while since I've done one of these. Okay, try this again. Into the connector. There we go. Locking tab down. And then this one is a little easier. Just push it in with your fingers. Locking tab down. Okay, that's the hardest part. Now I'll probably speed up this part and get the rest done. But I'll speed it up so you don't have to watch it all in slow motion. There we go. Did we forget anything? Hopefully not. We'll find out once it's all back together, I guess. And there's one other thing that I used to always forget on these. Tell me if you see it in the comments. These guys. Can't even tell you how many times I've forgotten to put these in and having to take it all back apart just to slide those in. All right. Now, back, how does this thing go together? Front goes down, then the back, then it snaps in. There we go. All looks good. Okay, just the bottom case screws, then the battery, then the bottom plastic, and we can test it. I'm not going to show all of that. Before we test it, let's move on to number 2 and see if we can get this A button working. Let me show you what's wrong first. And here we are with 3DS number 2. If I press the A button, it doesn't do anything unless I press it really hard. All the other buttons you just have to kind of press like normal. This one, you have to press super hard. So I think I know probably what's wrong, but we got to take it all apart and have a look at the board to figure it out for sure. As I'm taking this thing apart, I keep thinking that there could be some liquid damage or something in here. I mean, so far it looks great. I don't see any indications that there is liquid damage, but let's see. Okay, actually not bad. Get this ribbon cable released and then we can have a look at this board. Okay, so that's the A button. There was a little piece of debris there, but I don't know, it didn't look too bad. So that would also be the A button right there. The board looks pretty good. I don't know, it doesn't look too bad at all. Let's have a look at the button itself. And there's a little bit of debris there. It's certainly not sticky. Oh, we got a little bit of stickiness around here, some finger cheese. So we need to clean that out. Might as well just clean all those buttons while we're here. Now sometimes because of how these buttons work, there's a little bit of copper here that can erode away. So it is possible that that's going on. I can't tell, but I don't see any indication that that is what's going on. So I hesitate to remove this sticker. You can get more of these, and I think I have some around somewhere, but I don't know where they are right at the moment. So I hesitate to remove this one because a lot of times once you remove it, then you can't get it back on correctly. So I'm not sure that I want to go there. The other thing is that the A button definitely has some finger cheese on it. The pad is a little bit dirty. So it is possible that that's the only thing going on. I don't know. Let's get this thing cleaned off and think about what we need to do next. Just trying to decide if I need to remove that button pad, not the button pad, but I don't even know what it's called. plastic piece that has the buttons on it. Just gonna use my pick to clean this up. And then of course some isopropyl alcohol. There we go. And that is doing pretty good. Let's check some of these other ones. That one's good. That one's good. Okay, these actually are pretty clean other than, oh, the B button's a little dirty. It's not too bad, but might as well clean it while we're here. Now the button pad. Okay, now I think, honestly, to feel good about this, I think I do just need to remove this sticker right here. I just need to do it in a way that is not going to cause a problem. I need to try and lift it very gently and slowly and not bend it. I feel like if I put this back together and it doesn't work, I'm going to be kicking myself for not just removing that. Okay, here we go. I might need to heat this a little bit. Not a lot, I don't want to melt it. Hopefully enough to get the adhesive to loosen a little bit. Oh, there we go. We got it coming up now. Okay. Just need to carefully go around it. There we go. This gives me a little bit of hope. We can do it without causing too much damage. There we go, come on. These look really clean so far. Okay, and really not too much going on under here. There's a little bit of mark there. There's some marks up here, but not too bad. I'm gonna go ahead and just clean this all really well. Get any residue off of these things and hope for the best. Let's clean the actual buttons off without getting too much on the adhesive. Okay, I think that's good. Now, how was it? It was about right there. So, gotta line this up just perfect how it was. How's that look? Yeah, almost. It's not quite right though. Ooh, that is pretty close right there. A little bit over that way. It's a lot more difficult than it looks, I'll tell you that much. Okay, that's pretty good there. Okay, I think we got it. Okay, now I'm gonna start up my hot air station again. I'm gonna heat this all up and push down on it, and hopefully it'll be like we never even took it off. Okay, that looks pretty good. It's stuck on there nicely. Buttons feel good. The other advantage of removing this is when I put it back on, it's not gonna be exactly in the same place. So these little buttons are going to hit on the copper pad on the board in a slightly different place. So I'm hopeful that that's gonna take care of this problem. I'm gonna get this thing back together and then I'll come back once it's done and we'll test it. All right, let's go back to number 1 and test the game slot first. We've got a game right there, ready to go. Let's push it in and see what happens. And there we go. Let's just press on it and make sure it starts up. All right, and the game is starting up. Let's go to number 2 and see how this A button works. Now I'm going to just barely press it. Oh yeah, that works great. That feels so nice, like I barely pressed that. So I was able to fix these 2 Nintendo 3DSs pretty easily, and these should bring at least $200 each. These are in great condition, so they might even bring in more than that. If you like this type of video where I'm fixing broken handhelds, you'll probably like the video where I bought 44 broken handhelds. I'll leave that video right up on your screen now, so you can come hang out with me over there and see how many of those 44 I was able to fix. Thanks so much for watching today, and I hope you have a good one.